We were obviously discussing at length the announcement that we've now got Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. When you heard that announcement, Liam, what was your reaction to the fight? What's your reaction to it full stop?
I'm buzzing with it because if you hate Jake Paul, you're going to see him get knocked out in the second round. But if you love Joshua, you want him to have an easy fight, do you know what I mean? Back to back, he's fought loads of champions. I think he's changed British boxing, and I hope he does collect that easy money.
I mean, Anthony talked about in the presser a lot of things. There was a lot of interesting stuff that came out of that presser. One of them, that Ben Davidson wasn't going to be training him. Two, that he was looking at other fights past Jake Paul, and then he quickly talked about the fact that that was good promotional stuff rather than necessarily looking past Jake Paul. He came up with the announcement, I think I'm right in saying this, that he's going to be at 225.
245.
245.
245.
But again, there's no rehydration.
No rehydration clause. 245. That was the last time that he boxed Alexander Usyk, which was back in, 2022. I believe he weighed 245. He was in training camp anyway. He was going to be fighting on the undercard of this fight on Saturday night with Devin Haney. He was going to be fighting on that undercard, 22nd. So he's in shape. His weight's down anyway. So making 245, actually...
He has to be that done.
Yeah, but that's his best weight anyway, Anthony Joshua. That's where he's more athletic. You know, he's got more movement and whatnot. And no disrespect to Jake Paul here. You go, like, you know, without looking past Jake Paul, but he could look past Jake Paul because, you know, when you're talking about comparisons, these two guys are worlds apart. You have to respect Jake Paul for stepping up to the plate and actually going through with this fight, because I'm still trying to give my head a wobble on this whole situation. Going, what are you actually doing?
I respect Jake Paul for what he's done. I never thought that you'd talk like this about boxing, but we do. I respect Jake Paul because he's come over to another industry. He's made the other industry make him a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's actually helping a lot of female fighters and women boxing as well by putting his promotion on. So I respect him massively. But if Anthony Joshua was to lose to Jake Paul, it would be the biggest upset, travesty, whatever you want to call it, in boxing history. So he has to look past Jake Paul.
Well, let's hear from Anthony talking to the media in Miami. One of the questions that was put to him was about his lengthy stint outside of the ring.
So I took 12 months out of the game, realigned my vision board, and consolidated a lot of things, trimmed down my team, and I said I need 12 months to do that. So I took 12 months out of the game. We was moving at 100 miles an hour with my blinkers on. So then I took my blinkers off, looked at the landscape, and I just changed a lot of things in my life. It took a bit of time, but I said I need 12 months, and now we're here. So 12 months out of the game, and from September 21st, if you think about it back then, to now, December, that's 3 months. So most people take about 8 to 12 weeks to prepare for a fight. So this was like a preparation for a fight, basically. So this will be my first prep and fight in December. So no, I won't be trained by Ben Davidson. I said that London's a bit distracting for me. So I was invited to train with Team Usyk. So I've been in Spain. We've been doing some good training out in Spain. And I think he's one of the best in the world. Not I think, he is one of the best in the world. And it's not all down to him, it's also down to his team that's around him. So I linked up with them, and getting an insight to how someone who's achieved so much has been phenomenal, man. It's been a great experience, and it's very challenging.
Wow, I did not know that. So who will be your head trainer on the night?
Igor.
Okay, and how long have you been with them?
A couple months now.
Paul, there was a lot of things said there by Anthony Joshua that I was listening to about passing ways with Ben Davidson, about being distracted by having to train in London, about trimming down his business. He used an expression called vision board, which means he's got business advisors in his ear, probably with their hands in his pockets as well, because he's a cash cow. When you listen to all of that background noise, trimming down his backroom staff, looking at other businesses, re-evaluating his opportunities, looking at his vision board for his future, what do you read into that for Anthony Joshua?
Again, probably a little bit what I was saying there. I don't know a lot of Anthony Joshua's business. I say what I see, and the people that I know in his business...
Oh, he's got a lot of money, so he'll have a lot of assets around him.
Yeah, of course, and the people that I know in his businesses are usually his friends and family from the boxing side, and I like them all. I get on with them well at 258. He's got a good management company. But I've always said the training setups with Joshua, there's so many people around there. There was a video analysis, a man on a laptop. It's like, I don't think you need as much as he had around him. And if he has a good relationship with a boxing trainer who's got a good team as well, then it'll be the best thing that he can probably do, beneficial. Take himself away from all the imagine his life. You know, listen, you've probably had a life similar to that, but imagine his life every day. He probably doesn't get a minute constantly with the amount of stuff he has to do with his businesses. The boxing will probably sometimes be secondary. It has to be primary. And if boxing is primary and he gives 100%, he can get someone to run everything in the background, we will see a better Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
And I think it's just whether it's too long in the tooth at the moment or too late in the day for that to happen. That's the issue. And I think if it isn't, we'll see the best of Anthony Joshua. Being over there, training with that team, training with a team, a total different setup, might be the best thing that
Does that
might happen to
resonate
him.
with you, Spence? The idea that he's got too many distractions in London, and combined with now another change of trainer.
Yeah.
Is this a change of trainer? You know,
Yeah, change of trainer.
team, AJ?
Totally different setup. You know, I think Ben Davidson.
Full stop. Is that relationship now run its course?
Yeah, Ben Davidson has done a great job with him. He's moved on now. He feels it's time to move on.
He does, or Anthony does?
Anthony does. Anthony's decided that it's time to move on. He's gone out there.
Do you think that's on the back of the manner in which, I mean, there was a lot of criticism that Ben pushed back against, and came in and explained the roll the dice sentiment and the structure of the fight against Daniel Dubois. Do you think this produces an outcome for Anthony that's going to be beneficial? Because you've got to have some relationship that's got some continuity attached to it, isn't it? You can't keep changing trainers.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I think for Anthony Joshua, he's always done that. Historically, he's always done it. And I think that he's just looking to reinvent himself again. He knows it's now one last roll of the dice. And he's gone to the guy that actually beat him. He's gone to that team. Like, they're very military out there, Simon. You know, Team Alexander Usyk, that whole
Charles,
team. No, but I'm saying they're very military in what they do. And he's feeling like he needs something, you know, something new, something fresh. Get away from the distractions of home.
This change of trainer, you know, whether it be from Rob McCracken to whoever, the other fellow that came in, the American guy that came in that was a very aggressive trainer, onto Angel Fernandez,
yep.
onto Ben Davidson.
Yep.
Is this not illustrating the sort of personality crisis or crisis of confidence that Anthony Joshua often has about making his mind up about what he should be doing, what he could be doing? I've heard stories, and we've heard this story.
Yep.
Joe McGuigan told me about how he came into the room when he was fighting whoever it was, when I think Lawrence Okolie was getting his hands wrapped and saying, how do you think I should fight this fight? And this was about 5 minutes before he's due out there to go and fight it. Is this symptomatic of an endless seeming challenge, perhaps psychologically, that Anthony has in his own mind?
Look, it's not new to me. So he's always done it. He's done it, you know, he's done it from when he was an amateur as well. He trained around a lot of the amateur gyms, although he boxed for Finchley. So it's nothing new to me. So it's not a surprise to me saying, oh, look, what's he still searching for? That's just the way the guy is. He's always done that. So, yeah, it's difficult to comment. I know that Anthony Joshua himself is just looking to reinvent himself again. You know, he's had to go soul-searching after that defeat against Daniel Dubois. That was a tough defeat, a tough pill to swallow. And he feels that, you know, going out there training with Team Usyk, you know, Igor in particular, is going to be beneficial to him. So, you know,
He doesn't need that for fighting Jake Paul, does he?
No, but I think I think that's the long-term goal.
This is the prequel,
his road
the
back
preview,
to world title shots, not just for the Jake Paul fight.
When you hear, Liam, Jake Paul says, I'm ready to die in there, and then you hear Anthony giving the line, I'm going to break his face and break his body up and stomp all over him, does that produce any element of concern? I know you're a fighter, so it's not about concern, but the sport of boxing potentially has some risk in this, in terms of Jake Paul making that kind of statement. I know we've heard Deontay Wilder in the past say, I want a body in my record, but when you've got someone like Jake Paul, who we accept has done great things for himself and potentially shone a great light on boxing as well, but he's coming up against a former two-time heavyweight champion of the world who's physically still at his peak. We question Anthony's psychology, not necessarily his physicality. Do those sort of statements about I'm ready to die in there and I'm going to bash you up and stomp all over you give you any cause for concern about the sport?
He's a YouTuber, isn't he? So, like, they want them views. His life's been about views. And taking this fight with Joshua is views for him. So even if he loses in first round, he can always say I've been in with Joshua.
Yeah.
So he's at a win-win. It's Anthony Joshua what's under pressure. He's got to knock him out fast.
Well, that's my next question. How does Anthony come out of this fight with any... Does he need to come out of any form of credit? And how does he come out with any credit? Is it simply kind of what he did to Ngannou, which I think was absolutely fundamental, because Tyson Fury had dragged boxing into a space where MMA was going, you guys ain't got it, you don't know what you're all about. MMA fighters have got more balls than you guys. And it needed Anthony Joshua to go and do to Ngannou what he did, because Tyson Fury hadn't done it. Does he have to knock out Jake Paul in the first round
100%.
to be able to come out of any credit?
100%, he's got to. And if he don't, everyone's going to say it's a fix. I've already heard it on the internet. But I don't know, it's a risky one. It's just going to be an easy sparring match. Easy. I'd fight Jake Paul, never mind that, Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
I'd fancy my chances. Do you know what I mean? Easy.
Yeah.